We've covered 3 transformations until this point: moving, rotating, and scaling, and those are probably the ones that you use most often. However, there are 2 additional transforms that are available inside of Illustrator. One of them is called reflecting, the other one is called skewing or sharing. Let's take a look at both of those. I'm using the same transforming objects file that we've been using so far in this chapter. I'm going to go ahead and click on this body outline right here. If I go here to the rotate tool and I click and hold my mouse button down on it, I see that there's another tool here called the reflect tool. The keyboard shortcut for that is the O key. When I go ahead and specify an origin point, let's say right now it's in the center, I can click and drag and choose to reflect an option that's right there. Let me click undo for a second there. It really makes a lot of sense when you're using the reflect tool to define another point of origin, let's say right over here on the outside. Now if I go ahead and I make a copy, I see that I can reflect that on this side here. It's actually quite useful to use the reflect tool when creating shapes such as this, where you might decide to actually draw only one half of the body, and then if you want the other half of the body to look exactly the same, simply reflect another copy and then you have the entire body shape. Same thing maybe applies to the surfboard. Create one side of the surfboard and then reflect the other side to create that particular shape. Let me delete that shape right now. Another purpose for using the reflect tool, of course, is that lately a design technique used quite often is a reflection, and the way to start that process would be to simply select an object and create a reflection by choosing an origin point somewhere on the bottom of your object, holding down the Shift key and also the Option key to make a copy. Again, if you're on Windows, you'd hold down the Alt key as you did that. Then you'd apply maybe a gradient or other kind of function to actually have this fade out towards the bottom. If you wanted to make it appear as if this were some kind of a cast shadow, you might also use the Share tool. Again, this is something similar to skewing as well. I'm going to click and hold down my cursor on the Scale tool, and that will reveal the Share tool. Once again, by defining an origin point, maybe from over here, I can click and drag and adjust this by skewing it or sharing it and making it look as if there's some kind of cast shadow here as well. Just as with all the other transform tools inside of Illustrator, if I ever wanted to do something specifically by the numbers, I would double-click on the tool itself to bring up either the Share dialog box, I'll click Cancel, or I can click on the Reflect tool to bring up the Reflect dialog box. In reality, however, there is one other way to create any kind of transformation inside of Illustrator above and beyond the bounding box by using something called the Free Transform tool. So in the next movie, we'll take a look at how that tool works.